This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. WFO Radio is back, and we're going to dive back into the 2021 NHRA Camping World Series champions. We haven't spoken with everybody just yet, and now the new year is here, and we're getting ready to go racing, and it is time to reconnect and dive back in. Those of you who watched yesterday with Alan Reinhart, big breaking news with Justin Ashley, you can find that on our YouTube channel or our WFOradio.com. Today, we have got the five-time NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion, Matt Smith, going to be joining us, talking about the championship season, talking about some changes that are happening in the off season. What is he doing? I can tell you, I already saw he's got a whole bunch of Post-it notes stuck on the wall. So we're going to get to Matt in about less than 2 minutes. But first, I got to tell you about the people who make it possible for me to go WFO and talk about like our great sponsors like Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. Everybody that I talk to in the engine building world always has got great things to say about Total Seal Piston Rings. They've always got great things to say. They're thinner. They use less friction, frankly, and unlock that hidden horsepower. Go to the website. You can even buy individual rings right there on the website, TotalSeal.com. And then there's Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, FrankHawley.com. Go there, inspect, check it out, whether you want to get your license and become an alcohol funny car driver or a pro up there in the Camping World Series. Maybe you just want to have the experience of driving a dragster. And that's what I always pump, the dragster adventure. Go to FrankHawley.com. Tell them you heard about it on WFO. Samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Like, where is the next generation of engine builders and CNC machinists and motorsport EFI tuners looking at the grid, making sure everything's working out with the electronic fuel injection? The answer is Samtech.edu. Go to the website, see if it's for you. Call Brian Massengill. Tell him you heard about it on WFO. Castello says to call you, Brian. He's like, why are you calling me? And the answer is to find out the real information about Samtech.edu. They got great programs over there, and it won't be long till we'll be down there in Houston, Texas area for the final Spring Nationals. That's a little bit sad. And then finally, Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Yesterday was Gourmet Coffee Day, but every day is Gourmet Coffee Day around my house. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin Rodak and let him know you heard it on WFO. Order some coffee, and it'll be good to go. Later on in the show, I'll tell you about the Patreons, the Patreon Listener Club behind the scenes. They're all supporting WFO. It's pretty amazing. And there is a little common ground between the Patreons and Matt Smith Racing, and his name is Mark Stockseth. Let's bring on the five-time NHRA World Champion, Matt Smith. What's up, Matt? Happy New Year, brother.
Hey, how you doing, Joe?
I'm great. Long time no talk. Yeah, center yourself in that screen, man. Look at the background. Hey, I got my bobbleheads, baby. I got you and Angie already here. Like, Matt, how come I won the ice cream eating contest? Oh, I won the championship. Well, yeah, that's what I do when the camera's not on.
That's good.
It's funny. How are you doing, though? You good? I got to tell you, and this isn't championship related, but it's personal. I saw Angie at PRI, and I know, she lost her dad, and you guys lost a family member in just after Thanksgiving or right around then. And just my deepest condolences. This is the first time we've spoken about it. I know that had to be very difficult, right after the highest of highs, right?
Yeah, what a lot of people don't realize is her dad, Ronnie, moved about 6 miles away from us about 2 years ago. And he spent every day in the shop with us. He would come up every day and hang out till lunchtime. We'd go eat lunch every day. And that's what his last 2 years consisted of, was just being with us. And when we left for the Vegas race, we had lunch on that Tuesday before we left, and we didn't get to see him till after Pomona, which was 3.5 weeks later. And we got back after Pomona and saw him on Wednesday, and within 5 days he was gone. And it's been rough on Angie. It's been rough on me because me and Ronnie grew really tight, and it was just one of them deals. I mean, you hate losing a family member, but he's in a better place. He's not hurt no more, and Godspeed, Ronnie. He's looking after us.
Godspeed, Ronnie. Absolutely. Rest in peace. And You hate to lose a family member, right? And during these times, like we've seen so many people go through it, and it's just brutal. It doesn't get easier, but you got to think about the good times, I would imagine. And it's good that you guys got to have those, right? Like the last 2 years, he spent every day with you guys. Like that's pretty great. Not a lot of people get that.
Yeah, it was like I said, just a great deal for us to be able to spend time and do the stuff with him. And he loved racing. He loved watching Angie, run. And last year she won the final race of the year. And I mean, that just really pumped him up and all that stuff. And, he battled cancer for about 3 or 4 years and, just one of them deals. But he's not hurting no more, and we'll see him again.
Yes. Well, that's what I think. I mean, I don't know the specifics, but I think at some point, right, the energy all comes back together again. But let's turn our attention to something really great that happened to you guys in 2021, which is your 5th NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle Championship. And I was just like kind of thinking about it because we've disconnected for a while. You pretty much had the bike to beat for most of the year. There were moments of drama. Obviously, the countdown brought everything closer together. But you bookended the season with wins, 32 wins on the career, the 5th championship. You won the Gators, right? Am I remembering that correctly? And you won the Auto Club Finals, and you won Norwalk in between. And you won that ice cream eating contest, which I'm joking about. But it was a big year for Matt Smith Racing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we had 16 races, and Matt Smith Racing, we won 7 of those. I won 6. Scotty won 1. I don't know how many number 1 qualifiers we had. I think we were 7 or 8 or 9 of them between me and Scotty and Angie. We all got a number 1 qualifier this year. So all in all, just a really, really good deal for our team this year. We were very successful again this year as we was in 2020, last year. So hopefully we can continue that. We're changing platforms a little bit. We've been working hard on the Suzuki stuff, and we're going to run the Suzuki bike and see what happens. And hopefully we get it fast. We're getting pieces in a little at a time, but as everybody knows, it's hard to get stuff right now. And I've been telling some people that we're working with. We're like, look, we might not be stupid fast right off the get-go. But I promise you, mid-season, toward the end of the year, we'll be really fast with that stuff, once we get parts in.
I like the fact that you're looking forward, and I want to ask you about that. The new relationships, the new bike. Some people are going to think you're crazy. Like, oh my gosh, there's a world championship bike that's sitting out there. What's going to happen with that? Those are all questions. But first, let's go back to the year that was 2021 and just to dive in a little bit deeper. Were there any moments, like you said some things on the mic at the finals, where like I've been through this before, Angel, it's been a long time, and Steve hasn't been through this, and he's learning that experience right now. Like you seemed super confident, and I was like, wow, man, Matt Smith is super confident at the Auto Club Finals. Just kind of go back and give me the season. Was there ever a point where you felt like things were in question, or did you feel really confident throughout the year that you had this thing locked down and you just had to execute?
Well, I knew the Suzukis, between Steve, Angel, and Karen there in the year. I knew that they had, very, very good bikes. All right. And when it all boiled down to it, the Suzukis were the quicker bike at the end of the year. Hands down. They won 3 of the 6 races in the countdown. Or no, 4 of the 6 races, I think, in the countdown. So they had the better bike in the countdown. We just had the better bike at the beginning of the year to the middle of the year. But when you look at the big picture at Gainesville, they had the best bike. They were number 1 qualifier right off the bat, new program, new 4-valve stuff, number 1 qualifier, almost set the national record at the first race. So I knew we had our work cut out for us. They got lost somewhere through the season and didn't tune the stuff right or whatever. But they found their way back at the end of the year. And not only did one find their way back, but it was 3 of them. And there's going to be more this year because I'm pretty sure when Joey and Corey get back on the bikes right, they're going to be a contender also because they have the 4-valve motors. And I'm hoping that our program with the 4-valve motor between me and Jimmy and Gianna, that will be in the mix with the Suzukis also. So my goal is to work hard. That's what we've been doing. and to find the power and to be competitive with the Suzuki bike. I know we can be competitive with the V-twin, but I want to make the Suzuki stuff run fast and have another option out there.
You want to make a statement. You want to challenge yourself. You've seen them already be fast, and so you know that the parts work. And you, as an engine builder, you want to challenge yourself and try it out. So, what happens to the V-twin? Where's that going?
It's just going to sit at. It's going to be in the top of the trailer. I can tell you that bike will be in the top of the trailer at every race. And if I need to pull it out, I'll pull it out. But my goal is right now is to run the Suzuki. Angie's going to be on the V-twin, her same bike as last year. We finally fixed her bike there at the end of the year. We had a front end issue, and I think she'll be fine all year long. But I'm going to be on the Suzuki as long as I get all these parts in that I need to be able to run and have a spare motor. We'll be on the Suzuki just like Gianna and Jimmy will be.
This is like Tricky Ricky with the turbo car up in the top of the, or vice versa, right? When he switched to the turbo car, he had the nitrous car up in the top, like father lights like son. But why wouldn't you keep that bike that was world championship caliber and all that stuff like ready to go if for some reason things don't go as you planned? Now, at the championship celebration, you guys did something really cool, and I got the video, and I'm going to put it out at some point. I have held it back to the start of the season, but Angie and you hatched a scheme to soak poor Evan from the NHRA. He does nothing but work hard and try his best to make everything go. And you guys got him drenched. And I have the best video of it that I'm going to put out either on TikTok or my social media, or we'll watch it here. But as we get closer, right, as kind of like a reliving the last time we were there. What was that all about? Because it was funny and it worked.
Well, Evan, we got to win 6 races this year. And every time we'd go to the stage to spray the champagne, Evan made the statement that do not get him. And he's back out of the way far enough that you couldn't ever get him anyway from the stage. So we'd always get Nikki or somebody else. The new PR person for
Kurt.
NHRA, Kurt. We got him at one of the races. It was his very first race. I think that was Denver. So we made sure that we tried to get somebody. And as the riders and drivers on the stage, we'd all collaborate and say, look, we're not going to get each other. Let's get somebody out there, somebody new. And so our goal was, when we knew Evan was going to be up there for the championship thing, we knew he couldn't get that far away because of the crowd around us. So we all said, we're getting Evan 150% because this guy always said we could not get him. Well, guess what? We got him.
And I have the video, folks, and this is a reason to go to WFO Joe on Twitter and Instagram and WFO Radio on TikTok and, all of those things. I'll put it everywhere. But, I felt a little bad, like, man, the conspire is the word. It was a conspiracy. There was collusion. In this case, there was like a lot of people were in on it. Not me, of course, but I was made aware. And very funny behind the scenes moment as the crowd surrounded you guys on the stage on the starting line at Auto Club Raceway. Moments like that, Matt. You guys have had a tough career, you and Angie together. I reference it all the time because I can't help but think of all the great sponsors that you had, and then they pulled the plug on you, or went out of business, or disappeared, or the time you had to go get the brain to your fuel injection ECU off the side of the road, or just 100 different crazy Matt and Angie Smith dealing with adversity, or the time you were stuck on the side of the road for 12 hours outside of Denver, like a whole bunch of stuff. And to balance those with you guys being able to enjoy that championship celebration and spraying of champagne on the starting line at the Auto Club Finals. Is it moments like that, or is it the win light, or is it the acceleration? Like, what keeps you coming back?
It's just the hard work, the dedication that that we do for our fans, for our sponsors, and basically it's for the guys that's been with me since the word go. You said it already on the show before. Mark Stockseth.
Yes.
He took a chance on me in 2007. And he was in Colorado on vacation, and we were talking, and basically it was to the point I said, Mark, here's what we got to do. I need to get away from, at the time it was Star Racing, G Squared. I said, I need to do this on my own. I know I can do it on my own, but I don't have the money to do it on my own. And I said, I have a sponsor that wants to go, but I still have to buy all the stuff up front. And Mark stuck his neck out and said, hey, look, I'm in with you, 50-50. Let's go 50-50 this year. And we worked it out, and we won a championship the first year in 2007. And from that point forward, we've gone nothing but, I think we've just gone straight up like we have for the last, 14 years now? So I am just so excited to have Mark Stockseth and Marshall Stockseth helping us. They help numerous other people. As you know, they've always helped Erica the last 4 or 5 years. Now this year, they're helping Bo Butner with his deal this year. They're just super nice people. You hardly ever see them at the racetrack. Yeah. But when they do come, they're low key. They just want to be around, and they just like just being able to help people out. That I feel like they know people deserve it, and they like helping people out that deserve it and don't expect it. And I couldn't have done any of this without them, because we all know in Pro Stock Motorcycle, if you look at Pro Stock Motorcycle, Vance and Hines has always been the dominant force out there.
Sure, the factory, basically.
Oh, sorry.
Good.
That's
all right. Now look, you're more in the middle now. It's even best. Like we saw, we see you were like way down here. You got less room on the top of you, man. Let's see more.
The last 20 years, they've been the dominant, force, and we've gotten 5 championships out of their 20 years that they've been dominating. So I don't think anybody else has ever done that, and I'm just excited to be part of their deal. Mark and Marshall Stockseth, and Denzo's come on board. Like you said, we've been in 2007, we won the championship, lost Torco. We all know what happened there. 2013, I won the championship, Viper went under. Victory, we had the Victory thing going, running good there, and they pulled out. So it's just one of them deals. It seems like every time we get something good going, something happens to the company. And I think Denzo's a big enough company. I don't think nothing's going to happen to them. And we keep going strong with them. And, they're very excited. And we got to meet the new president last year. And so really excited. They're pretty happy with everything that's going on.
Well, and they just got on board with the Sonoma race, right? It's going to be the Denzo Sonoma Nationals, which is a big race for the Pro Stock motorcycles. I don't know if there's going to be like a bike battle or anything like that just yet, but great for Denzo and Lisa, and the girl can skate, right? She's a great roller skater too, which is, was news to me. You weren't an engine guy though before this, were you? Like that, I think, is an interesting part of your story. Let's go into that. I've been spending a lot of time with these Total Seal guys and Hidden Horsepower. They've put me around engine guys, and so I've been learning a lot more about engines. And even Greg Anderson, he says it too. You guys are both 5-time world champions. Didn't start out as an engine guy, became an engine guy because of the necessity. And you do all your own stuff. But prior to this, what was your engine building experience at like the highest levels?
When I started racing in 96, I built my own motors, and my dad had his own engine shop in Pro Stock Car back in the day when he raced in NHRA. And then I had Charlie Buck, who used to work for my dad. Now he's out on his own right here in King. And both of those people helped me start my engine career of learning the stuff, learning the fundamentals, and doing all the stuff. So from the word go, when I started building motorcycle motors in 1996, I've always done my own motors. And it's just, I guess, correlated over to where we're at now. I mean, just because I built a nitrous motor in 2000 and we had a successful nitrous program between pro mod bikes to outlaw bikes to whatever, to now it's just Pro Stock. It's still the same fundamentals. You just got to tweak more with performance, cams, heads, and all that, compression, than what you did with the nitrous. Nitrous, you could make whatever power you want, just put bigger jets in, but you had to make it live. Now, we don't have that option. We have to make the most power we can with what we're limited to, and that's bore, size, and stroke. So we do everything we can, and I have always been an engine guy, and I love the challenge. And when I started my motorcycle career, I was on a Suzuki. I went to 4 or 5 finals, and I got beat by Antron Brown. Like 3 of the 5 finals I went to in 2000, I think 5 and 6, and I never won on a Suzuki. And that's one of the main reasons why I want to go back on a Suzuki. I want to win on a Suzuki because I've won on a Buell, I've won on a Victory, I've won on everything that I've ever raced in, but I didn't win on a Suzuki. And I think that's what's got me more challenged than anything, that I want to do that.
Well, I love that. Well, listen, you're a 5-time world champion. Does that make sense to you? 5-time world champion. You look over at Greg Anderson, you're both holding up the same number. Caps is on the stage. Leveron Caps, he's got, holding up 2. Like, that's a pretty significant deal. Like, you walk among the immortals when it comes to drag racing.
Yeah, there's only 2 people in the whole class history of pro stock motorcycles got more championships than me, and that's Dave Schultz and Andrew Hines. So if I were to be able to somehow get one more, I could tie both of those. And in my opinion, those are both legends. I mean, everybody knows Dave Schultz is a legend. I mean, and the way Andrew is, I mean, yeah, he's a current racer still, but he's still, I mean, that guy's a legend too. I mean, I've looked up to him, racing and just trying to be as good, if not better than him. And just one of them deals. I mean, I'm just glad to have my name associated in those kind of people. And hopefully someday down the road, I'll inspire more people that are getting started that want to come pro stock motorcycles, say, hey, I want to be like Matt Smith or Andrew Hines or Dave Schultz. I want to be like them. And hopefully I'm doing that out here to help people.
Excellent. No, I love it. I love it. And I think it is great. We got some questions out there for you. Then we're going to talk about the program, like, Dragster Jeff. He's jealous of the bobbleheads is what it is. He's like, how does a fan get the bobbleheads, Matt? What's up with that?
Well, I tell you what, we'll do some more promotions. Watch our Facebook stuff. We're going testing next week at Bradenton. We got to do some testing. We'll be down there Monday and Tuesday. But after that, we'll come back and we'll do some stuff with Denzo. We'll do some promotions, do some drawings, and we'll try to get some bobbleheads, some apparel stuff out for some fans. So that's one way that you'll be able to see if we can win one first, and we'll go that route. But just look out for our Facebook page, 1st of February. I'll put it that way.
Matt Smith Racing. All right, so there's a racer out here, but it's Michael Phillips using someone else's profile, right? What's up, Joe? This is Michael Phillips. I see you're talking to Slow Matt today. Shout out to Michael Phillips. I don't know who this, lady friend of Michael Phillips is, but Michael, that's over your head, brother. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's family or something, but wow. But what about Michael Phillips, man? We got to get this guy on a faster bike. I think it would be really great. I always say the same thing, man. Michael Phillips, he's needed.
Yeah, me and Michael's had our battles out there. I mean, I really like Michael. Michael's a class act. He's a really good racer, and biggest thing is, I mean, Michael used to be the king of speed out there. Everybody knows that for years and years and years. Michael Phillips's Suzukis would always go 197, 198, all that stuff, and he was always known as the big speed. He just couldn't ever get ET because he'd blow the tire off leaving line. And now, I think we've become the king of speed kind of, and I'd like to see Michael in a V-twin. Maybe someday we'll get Michael on one, and let him see how much power these things do have. If he ever got on one of these, he probably wouldn't want to go back to the bike he's on right now.
Oh, I bet. He says that's his wife, and maybe that's why Michael's not at the races as much anymore, man. That's a good job, Michael. Good for you, brother. All right, there's another question. This guy wants to know, for you, would you consider Supercross? Do you feel inspired to try other racing series? I say don't do Supercross, man. Don't do it.
No, man, those Supercross guys and the road race guys that race, these motorcycles, I don't think that I'm too old for one. I'll be 50 years old this year. I don't think it's wise for a 50-year to go start a new profession, whether it's road racing or Supercross or whatever. I'm going to stay drag racing. You know, the only thing that I would probably consider doing is I would get in a funny car or a pro mod car or a top fuel car. I'd even go pro stock. I mean, me and March talked about going pro stock racing. So it's just
like
it's one of them deals. I mean, I'll probably be in a pro stock car at some point. And I tell you now, if NHRA would change the rules to where we could run two professional classes at a race, I'd run pro stock car with pro stock bike at some of these races. But they just don't allow that right now, and that's what's holding me back from that point.
You and Mike Salinas both feel the same way because he wants to run top fuel and pro stock motorcycle. Let's talk a little bit about that relationship. Scrappers Racing, Mike and Monica and that whole team, they kind of came on the scene, feels like, 6-7 years ago. They found their way out there, and I don't know, man, they seem to be like really genuine, wonderful people, and at the same time, forging forward with success. They put together winning programs with Jasmine and the McPhillips family and the A Fuel cars, and kind of been finding their way in pro stock motorcycle. And you guys got together. Tell us what you can tell us about how that program came together and when the conversation started, because that's a pretty big deal, right? Like Mike looks around and says, Matt Smith, he's doing bikes for people. He's going to do bikes for us. And we're going to learn from the best.
Well, first off, Mike Salinas is a very successful businessman. He wouldn't be where he's at without being that. But Mike came to me at Charlotte, North Carolina, at the 4 Wide this year. And he come and talked to me, and he says, hey, I want you to help our program. What would it take for you to help our program? And I said, let me put some things together, and I'll sit down with you in a couple races. And that's what I did. I wrote him a list of stuff down that needed to change from what I saw from an outside appearance on his team. And basically, we put that deal together, I think it was right after Indy, the Indy race. And we basically, it was a verbal commitment. And we finally got everything done at Vegas about how we're going to run the team and how we're going to do it. All the same people. I told him, I said, I don't have a problem with any of the same people being on board, because I like Gary Stouffer. I like Greg Underdahl. Jimmy seems to be a good rider. Jonna just needs some help on making her a better rider, because she's new. She's still young. She's still fresh at this. And she just needs to be taught the correct way to do all this stuff. And she's developed a couple bad habits. No different than a lot of people would develop a bad habit. And we've got to get some of those things fixed. And I think we'll be fine once we go test and get some of those bad habits out of her deal. She'll be really fast. I had to do the same thing to Angie. Angie has some bad habits.
You gotta bring the dog and put it in your lap, like that way. Like, get the little doggy. We love dogs. We want the dog. Bring him over there. These dogs are very popular at the racetrack. Everybody, as soon as the dog barks, nobody cares about anything anybody else is saying. They want to see the dog. I've watched it on TV. Dog time.
Let me get. There's Coco.
See, the ratings are going up now, Matt. Everybody loves a little puppy, right? And look at that. So, bad habits. Back to that.
Okay, there
you go. And anytime, like, look at that's Coco, huh?
That's Coco.
All right.
So, yeah, Angie had some bad habits, and we just had to get all that out of her system, And it took a couple of years to do that. So I think we'll be fine. We just got to find some power in the motors. And Jimmy's a good rider that he's going to adapt right off the bat. I worked with him the last 3 or 4 races of the year that we ran those bikes. I was doing the tuning on the fuel injection. And now that's what we've been doing, getting Gianna's bike ready for fuel injection. And so we're actually on the dyno today running her bike. And we're going to be at Bradenton with Gianna on Monday and Tuesday next week, and letting her make some laps on her new fuel injection motorcycle. So the main goal is just to get her some laps. We got to pinpoint of where she needs work at and where she doesn't need work at to make her a better rider. And the main thing is just getting her some laps right now. So our goal is that. And like I said, I think we'll be all right. I think we'll be fine. But we just got to get to that point. And the thing that bothers me right now is we just don't have parts.
Right.
It's like everybody else in the world.
Yeah,
I mean,
nobody does.
Nobody has parts. And you go to make parts and they're 8 months out, 10 months out. And it's like, come on, really? So we're trying to start something new here, but yet I'm getting held up a lot on parts. And we do have one Vance and Hines head here, brand new from Eddie and them. I got one Monstar head here. We've got more on order, but they tell me they don't have the parts to finish the stuff, and we don't have the parts yet to go with it. So we're going to do the best we can, but that's what I'm saying. We might not be the quickest Suzukis out there right off the bat, but I guarantee you by the time we get all the parts and pieces that we've got ordered and we get some development time and some seat time and some tuning time, I promise you by the end of the year, mid-season, that we will have one of the top 3 or 4 Suzukis out there, hands down.
Exciting. No, it is exciting. All right. So Kyle says, congrats on the championship. Ready to see you get another one this year, and that everybody wants to see the dogs. Yes, they definitely do. This guy's in California. He'll be following along. Someone said your inspiration, except he mistyped the name. But Matt, like, who's your, inspiration? Who inspires you when you to do all of this?
I mean, I probably have to say my dad. My dad is, he's a legend in our sport. He might not be the biggest legend in NHRA, but back in the day, there was IHRA. All right. And he was one of the baddest drivers to ever race IHRA. He held the record in IHRA forever with most wins until Clay Millican beat him. And that was after my dad was gone from IHRA for 5 or 6 years. Clay Millican finally broke that record of the most wins by, an IHRA person. And my dad went NHRA, and, he's got the most wins ever, I think, for Pro Mod, by a Pro Mod driver in NHRA. So I think in my opinion, he's probably one of the greatest of all time in what he's done. But my other big inspiration that used to be was Bob Glidden. My dad and Bob were teammates forever. My dad was motorcraft with IHRA. NHRA motorcraft was Bob Glidden. And I really grew up with Bob Glidden a lot. And him and Etta, me and Rusty were really good friends. I never was really close to Billy Glidden, but me and Rusty were like best friends growing up. And, so I watched what Bob did on the NHRA side, and I watched what my dad did on the IHRA side. So those were the 2 big inspirations in my life of drag racing that I just wanted to be like them. And that's why I went the drag racing route.
I love it. No, I think it is great. I tried to put up a picture of your dad. I only got pictures of his car with the old sponsor, so I didn't put up the wrong one by mistake. Matt, Michael Phillips wanted to know if you're going to be on a Suzuki or a V-twin. The answer is Suzuki. He wants to know where Angie's going to be. She's going to be on the V-twin, and Angie's out there. And if anybody gets on the Red Rocket, it will be me, says Angie. What about that? Putting Angie on the bike that has won the world championship to go try to, get another win.
Well, I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but right now, I think her bike could be just as fast. We just got to get her on the same page, the clutch on the same page, and the tuner on the same page. And as long as all 3 are together, then that bike will be just as fast as the Red Rocket. Because if she jumped on my bike, it's not set up for the way she rides the bike. It's set up for the way I ride the bike. And that's just, I could jump on her bike, and after 2 or 3 test sessions, that bike would be as fast as what my bike is. But the problem is everybody has a different riding style. And, from a female to a guy, there's a big difference in a riding style because of just the amount of weight you got to put in different places.
Sure.
So, if I don't see me riding a Red Rocket, then I might let her ride it for a race or 2 and just see if she can do any better. But I think she'll be fine on her bike. Just she's got to give me a chance. We had a front end problem last year that we didn't find till Vegas, and I think she'll be good.
Angie is out there. This is like a co-interview, right? Like we've got the avatar for Angie who is out there. Look, Angie, I got you maybe a ride on the Red Rocket. I think it's great. Meanwhile, Michael Phillips is out there. He says, "Hey, I bet y'all won't put me on it." And the answer was no. He goes, "I'll wear pink. I'll do what I got to do to be on it." But you did say that he needs to ride on a V-twin so he can experience the difference, which you got to ride them differently. That's very, very interesting. All right. So who's the big threat this year when you look ahead? Because, okay, yes, Vance and Hines, right? Who and what and how many, we don't know exactly at any time. But White Alligator Racing at the end of the year last year was moving forward. Karen was looking great with those guys, Tim Kalungian and all. When you survey the competition in 2022, give me your thoughts. Rank your biggest threats.
Well, the biggest thing is I don't know how many bikes Vance and Hines is going to have. I think at the most they'll have 2, but they might not have 0. I just don't know what they're going to come out with. If Angel's going to be back on one, or if Eddie's going to be on a Suzuki. I've heard they're parking their V-twins anyway. So, and I don't think Andrew will come and run. I think he just wants to be a crew chief, and help them bikes go fast. So I think if they come out with something, I think it's only going to be 2 of them. Andrew's main goal last year was to go 200. He wanted to be in that 200-mile-an-hour club. I think he's got that. And I think he's probably pretty set on his career as that. I think now his focus is probably going to be to crew chief and make people win races like that. I think Karen's going to be fast. I just heard that she got her deal renewed for next year, so she's back on the same bike she was at the end of the year. And yes, I think she'll be a threat. Karen just has a bad problem with red lighting. So I don't know if she can be a championship caliber right off the bat, but she does have the bike that can be a championship. A lot of people panic in situations, and not saying anything bad, but she's had fast bikes before, and she should have won a lot more races if she just didn't turn the red light on. And that's something you've got to do better as a rider. You've got to be more focused and more controlled. Steve Johnson had a good bike last year, and he's in the same situation. He's one of these people that's never been put under pressure like he was last year. And he panicked there at the end of the year, I think. Crossing the center line there, the last race, getting 15 points deducted from him. Stuff like that, you've got to be aware of your surroundings and be aware. So if I had to rank the people of who I feel like I've got, I think Karen's going to probably be the number 1 threat. I think Joey will be a good threat next year. I think Corey's going to take a little bit of time to heal up right. But I'm going to put Angie as a threat. I really think that the power that we have in our V-twins, now they've added 10 pounds to Suzuki's, and if Angie's bike comes around like it should and she rides right, I think she's going to be a big threat next year for everybody. So, hopefully I get the Salinas team, the Scrappers team. I hope they're a threat. I really do. I'm not counting them out at all yet. But, it's just parts and pieces. We've got to get the parts and pieces to be able to run right and run like we need to. But, no, I think those are going to be my biggest threat because, like I said, I don't know if Vance Hines is going to have any bikes out next year because I haven't heard them have any sponsors yet, and I just don't think they'll fund it out of their own pocket next year.
Got it. Well, listen, so first of all, the straightforward candor about the competition. When I make an observation, I can make an observation based on, facts, but it's not coming from you, right? And so it's very interesting. I'm sure a lot of the people watching right now are exactly the competition, and this is going through shops all around. You're motivating them. But that's what's great about Pro Stock Motorcycle, right? Everybody kind of tells it like they think it is in the moment, and it's for Steve to go out and learn, take what he learned last year, those lessons, and try to get better. And Karen, she's won many races, but she'd probably be the first to tell you, didn't she win a race by going 00 every round? So that's flirting with the big red evil eye, and sometimes you cross the line. It's going to be very interesting to see how it all works out. And I love the fact that you mentioned Angie because you're smart, but also if Angie was to win 4 races in a season, that would be really good for NHRA Drag Racing because she's a character. You know that. Right. She's a character. Just like when Angel wins, it's good for drag racing. Too bad for whoever's in the other lane, but she's been around for a long time. She's got such a great fan base out there. Angie is very similar. out there in that way. All right, let's Sadie is out there. Look at this. Your PR person is out there, Sadie, and she says, Matt's haircut, hallelujah. What people didn't know, though, and you didn't even reveal it, like, it was kind of an interesting situation. The hair is growing, and you blamed Lisa. She liked it, and maybe that was true, in fact. But actually, you had a secondary purpose that you barely mentioned publicly, but when the time came to cut it, you donated it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I mean, so my mom works at Brenner's Children's Hospital, and every year she shaves her head, and it's always in, I think it's August or September. She always shaves her head, and they do it for Locks of Love. And she wanted me to do it then. And I'm like, look, Mom, I can't do it now for the simple fact of I want to shave my head and get it done. But I said, if I do that and I lose this championship and don't win races, then I'm going to blame the haircut. All right. So I'm just going to keep it to the end. And if we don't win the championship, all right, I'm cutting it anyway. If we do, then great. The mojo stayed and we shaved it in a year. And that was the whole thing. I mean, my mom does it every year and she doesn't have to do it at all. But she does it because of the love she has for the children and the love she has for the hospital. And that's kind of why we did it. You know, I did that and donated it and all that stuff. So it was just, we didn't advertise it, but that's just kind of what was going on.
Which is great. And sometimes, you know, there's a saying about, you know, doing good deeds or doing the right thing. And if you start telling people about it, then it's not as good because who knows why you're doing it. Justin says he's going to buy a Matt Smith t-shirt now. Because of this interview, Matt, we sold you one t-shirt. Good job.
All right. Thank you, Justin.
And Derek wants to know about Angie's hand. How's she doing?
It's getting better. She's still she's still wearing a Band-Aid and, you know, and all that right now, but just to keep stuff out of it. But it is getting better. Her nail's starting to grow back. She didn't have a nail for a while, and now she's getting a nail to start growing. So I keep teasing her. I'm like, every time once a month or once every 2 weeks, she goes and gets her nails done. And I asked her, I said, did they give you a discount? She goes, for what? I'm like, because they're only doing 9 fingers now. They're not doing 10, so you should get a discount. And she just, you know, she kind of hits me in the shoulder, but I would argue with it, you know.
Yeah, no, 10%. It makes sense. Why I'm not paying the full price. So what, her nail is gone? It like reconstitutes. For those that don't know, Angie had a just a horrific. Here, she's responding to you. Something about big money. It's the dollar signs. But where was that happened? But she
Bristol.
smashed in Bristol. She smashed her finger with the hammer, but you know, how else are we going to test somebody's toughness, right? And now I have no questions about Angie Smith because she handled that deal in a way that I don't think I could have handled that deal. Number one, I think I'd have cried. And 2, she was back trying to get on the bike later that day and patched up and working and pushing it all around and everything. That's very impressive.
Yeah, I mean, she's a very tough girl, and she didn't cry not one time during that whole ordeal. Went and got stitches at the emergency room.
Did she say any bad words though?
I can't remember. She might have.
Yeah.
But, you know, she wanted to be right racing the next day, and I'm like, I had to make the call. I said, no, you're not. So I had to call Lisa and talk to her about the whole situation and tell her that, look, she's not racing no more this race. And we need to let her heal so she can be able to ride back at Vegas, you know. So we had a week off. And it was the right move, you know. Even though it hurt her at Vegas the first day trying to do it, it got better and better and better. And then by Pomona, she was fine. And, you know, now she's all healed up. So we're going to let her make a few laps probably Tuesday at Bradenton. You know, she's going to sit out Monday, but probably let her make some laps on Tuesday down there.
Were you really getting ready to pass out from all the blood?
Yeah, well, I don't do good with blood. So
who does?
I'll be the first to admit, I don't do good with blood. I don't do good with shots, needles. So I pass out pretty easy at that kind of stuff. So I did help her get the bleeding stopped, and I got her to my mom. Luckily, my mom was there, and she went with her to the emergency room while I finished the bikes to get the valve springs changed on all of them. And as soon as I got that done, I left and went and relieved my mom at the hospital, and I stayed there until we could leave.
Selena says she said lots of naughty words. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't know if the energy's coming out with tears or it's coming out with profanity. I know which one usually happens with me. And it's, sorry, kids, it's the profanity. But I don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. Derek has one more question that you mentioned last year about the Cyclone 17. That's where we first heard that there were two fuels in that whole controversy. And it turned out to be, I don't know if it was much ado about nothing, but we certainly worked through it. But he wants to throw back to that and like, which fuel are you on? Which fuel are you going to use? Whatever happened with Cyclone 17 and Matt Smith Racing? Where did you end up?
So Matt Smith Racing never ran the new fuel at all last year. We ran the old fuel, and we were the only team to run the yellow fuel, which is the SR18, all year long. All right. This year, we will probably still stick to that with our V-twin program. The Suzuki stuff, I will start with the Cyclone 17, and and then we'll transfer. We'll see on the dyno, and then maybe testing back to the SR18. But every other team out there in NHRA Pro Stock Motorcycle is running the Cyclone 17, but Matt Smith Racing. So we'll see.
Championship team.
The championship team. I just that new fuel is very volatile. And for some time, when it gets real hot, it seems to not run as good. It runs good in cold and average temperature, but when it got really hot, I saw it do some stupid stuff when we tested. So I just didn't want to get in that situation where I had to depend on that, and then I had to swap back. So I just stayed with a fuel that made less power, but we knew that I knew the tune-ups for it: hot, cold, average, whatever. And that's what we ran.
Excellent. And you won the championship, and you had a great year. Now you have 32 career wins. Matt Smith Racing won 7 races. No Scotty this year, though. That's a bit of a bummer. I'm very sad because, the racing is about the people as much as it's about the cars. And Scotty and Suze, they really made it fun. You guys are going to have to turn up the volume on the fun.
Well, Scotty and Susan are building a house. From what I understand, it's a really big house.
Oh, really? Big house. Oh, he's frozen. He's frozen. Matt, you're frozen. I don't know what happened. Matt Smith's frozen. We'll give him another couple seconds to see if he unfreezes. And if he unfreezes, then we'll continue the interview. He's unfrozen. There it is.
There we go.
So
they're building a house, and they're building 2 houses, I think. So they just need to take the year off. And I told them, whenever they want to come back, they're more than welcome to come back because they're great people. Everybody loves Scotty and Susan, and I wish them the best of building a house. And we got our hands full this year with adding these 2 bikes, so we'll have 4 bikes total. But hopefully they come back, and we'll be here for them if they need to come here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So final thought, we were just having a conversation about the big, I had a conversation with Nikki from social media about what we're going to do in 2022. And one thing that we'll be going into our 3rd year, and Angie is the defending champion at the annual Norwalk ice cream eating contest. And she took down some heavy players there, but maybe there might be a rule named after her this year about heating the spoons, and we're going to have to can you supply a heat gun for the ice cream eating contest this year so that we can check the temperature of all the spoons before we get into the competition?
Yeah, I can supply that, but I think the biggest thing is y'all probably need to make a rule that so everybody's on the same page, because if I'm not mistaken, you might want to check into the ice cream because some of the ice cream is harder than the others. So consistency. So if somebody gets the softer ice cream up there, it's going to be way easier for them to eat more of it than the hard stuff.
All right.
So, you might want to check into that, and they can only use these ice creams up there because I think they have 6 different flavors, and I'm pretty sure one of them was really soft ice cream. So if I was in it, I'd go with the softer ice cream. That way I didn't have to heat the spoon up.
So on WFO Radio podcast, Matt Smith is lobbying for spec ice cream in the ice cream eating contest. I got that right. You're looking for a spec ice cream. I'll send it to the rules makers and see what they come down with. but it was a good time. It was a lot of fun and obviously led to great success. You guys get to share victory out there in Norwalk. Matt, thank you so much. How's your dad? What's his plan? If you can share anything, what's your, and more power adders going into Pro Mod. What's Ricky going to do?
So from what I'm understanding, I know everybody's heard this for 5, 6, 7 years. This is his last year. He started his career in a Ford, and he's ending it in a Ford. He's got a brand new Ford Mustang being built, and that's what he's going to run. Nitrous, Ford power, and this is supposedly his last year. He wants to end his career in a Ford because that's what he started in. So we'll wait and see. We've heard this rumor that he's, quitting and all that stuff for 5, 6, 7 years now. But I really think this might be the last year you see him driving a car, at least full time. I'm not saying he won't do some side stuff every now and then here or there, but I think this might be it for him. Just the G-forces and the parachutes and all that stuff. I mean,
Sure.
it really gets to you. And my dad's 68 years old. He's getting up there in the age, and it's just his body just can't handle it. Just the G-forces. It's not that he can't do his job. It's just the G-force of the. It's the G's leaving line, and then all of a sudden it's the negative G's. People don't realize, they don't understand how much the negative G's on a Pro Mod car hits you when you pull those parachutes. And I've been very fortunate to be able to drive a Pro Mod car and pull the parachutes at 250 some mile an hour. And man, it is unreal what it feels like. So I see what he's going through, and he's done it for a long time.
Yeah. And he's 68 years old, younger now than it was 30 or 40 years ago, but the body is getting a little more brittle. And what you just described, something that nobody ever thinks about, right? Like the effect on the body and what's going on inside under such an intense deceleration. And I think Ricky has got a lot to add to drag racing, even if he elects to step out of the driver's seat. But you are kind of blowing my mind, though, with the whole Ford power, Ford Mustang, doing this whole thing. Like, that kind of sounds just a little out of left field. I get he's doing it for a reason, but I'm not going to judge because he'll come out and be #1 qualifier and win some races.
Well, he's using the same power plant he always has. Pat Musi Motors.
Okay.
It's just the Ford car. He's just changing the body style. So it's the Jerry Bickle car, but it's going to be the Ford Mustang instead of the Camaro.
Got it.
About like Pro Stock car. Everybody's got a Camaro out there, but he's just going to throw a mix up and do the Ford Mustang, and that's what he's going to run with.
I like it. Oh, we need that. We need more. The Camaros, right? Everybody gets mad about Pro Stock being all Camaros. Well, guess what? Pro Modified, it's happened too.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think NHRA should look at, if somebody brings a Ford out or brings a Dodge out in the NHRA, hey, take some weight off those cars. If they want to run a different body style, let's let some other people come in. They might be 10, 15, 20 pounds lighter to make that body style competitive. But they need to do that, in my opinion, to get more body styles out there so they don't all look the same.
Especially with the classic retro ones, they get 50 pounds now, which I don't think is enough to encourage the purchase and design. Like 50 pounds, it's like, make it 100 pounds. Look at me telling the tech guys what to do, but make it 100 pounds until those cars become overpopulated and start to dominate, and then back them down. Because too many Camaros. Love the Camaro. Camaro's great. Too many Camaros. We need variety. Matt, thank you very much for spending so much time with us. Your champion interview on WFO Radio. Thanks to Lisa from Denso for making you guys, giving you that stability that you needed. And Angie, heal up, feel better. We got to see Coco, the dog. Is there anything else you want to say to your fans out there?
No, just, come see us in Gainesville. Like I said, we'll be on a different platform. We still have the old platform up in the top of the trailer. If we ever need to bring it out, it'll be there. But I promise you, we won't get too far behind on that Suzuki. And if we do, we'll bring out the Red Rocket and show everybody how fast that thing will still go.
There you go. Matt, thank you very much. Thanks for spending some time. We'll see you. It won't be long. You're going to be right across the state from me in a few days. But Gainesville is right around the corner. Can't wait for that big East Coast opener. Thank you so much. Say hi to Angie, and we'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate it.
There goes Matt Smith with us here on WFO Radio, the 5-time champ, the 2021 Camping World Series Pro Stock Motorcycle Champion. And how much news did we just get? Like Tricky Ricky, Mustang, final year, never ran the Cyclone 17. As far as he knows, was the only guy running the older stuff all last year. Going to be on a Suzuki. Angie's going to be on the V-Twin. Like, just a lot of news. A lot of news. I mean, or a lot of information. I don't know how new it was. I'm sure somebody knows it. Yes, Steve, who is a great tuner out there as well. Do shoots hit harder than sand? I guess not. Kyle says, that's what I'm saying about old school body styles. Just since we're talking about that, right? Like, I've got opinions too. And it's not whether or not people want to listen to them. There's just 100 things. But if you're going to incentivize a behavior, and it has nothing to do with drag racing necessarily, it has to do with anything, I think it needs to be a big incentive to get people to do something that they weren't going to do. And so the 50 pounds, we saw a couple of Chevelles out there, but are they as aero as the Camaro? Maybe not. And I don't have numbers or anything, but why not? And look, James out there saying the thing. I'd like to see those 80s and 90s body styles that we all like the Willies and all that. Why not incentivize them with something bigger, 100 pounds, to run the body style? And when the body style starts showing up in mass, then you can back it down. They're dominating. Oh my gosh, they've got too much. Well, you can back it down 75 pounds. Now, I think I already know the answer too, which is those cars are probably very close to minimum weight as it is. And Ricky was telling me about the nitrous cars, that with all the plumbing and the bottles and all that extra stuff, that it's really hard to make weight as it is. So even if they give weight breaks, it's hard to get there because of there's just a number that is the natural weight for, like, if I was going to try to go on a diet, I could probably not get down to 120 pounds. You know, I couldn't do that even if I wanted to, just because it doesn't work with all the stuff you've got to carry your frame. That is probably the reason that those body styles don't get some sort of thing. But yeah, Dragster Jeff is referencing that the Chevelles bodies need weight reduction. Well, they get the 50 pounds, but or maybe that's as of this year, but you know, where is that weight? Is the body that heavy? Can you move it around? That's all kinds of stuff. You're right. That makes sense, which is really all I care about. All right. Put your final thoughts in the comments section here on this Wednesday WFO. If you loved the interview, please share the show, especially the YouTube link. Those of you out there on the Twitter machine, give us a retweet, and Facebook just the same. Hopefully someone will share it in those pro stock motorcycle pages and groups and see exactly what's going on. I hope that Spider-Man McBride was able to get his stream working. He actually sent me a link with a challenge he was having right before the start of the show. But let's put your comments, final comments, in the comments section, and then I'll tell you what I did this morning. And we'll read some final comments and questions, and then we'll bounce on out of here. But first, let me tell you about the people who make it possible. You know, Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, big supporters of WFO Radio, and we really appreciate them. We're about to drop a new Hidden Horsepower episode with Dr. Neil Cantor, who is, you know, the guy's a real live scientist. And he starts talking about just fuel burn and combustion chamber chemical reactions and all kinds of interesting stuff. You are going to love it. He's a tribologist, like one of the world-renowned tribologists. Hidden Horsepower, Total Seal, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You do not have to be an engine builder or engine geek to enjoy what they're telling you about. Check it out. And samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. We always say start your education at full speed. And it is so true. You know, the next generation of engine builders, of crew members, they have got such a great network of people, and they can get you placed. They can place you in your job. You see me moving the camera. I'm trying to find something there. But samtech.edu, be sure to tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Brian Massengill, the Massengill family down there in Houston, Texas. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. You can learn to drive a dragster at frankhawley.com. And why wouldn't you? And then there's Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com, the hot sauces and the spice rubs and everything that is good. Marvin Rodak. Appreciate Marvin. Thank you, Marvin. And the Patreons, got a little something sent out to them. This is the VIP Listener Club. And here's what I sent everybody. And this is the new deal. If you sign up for the $10 a month support, right? immediately you're going to get the Patreon pin, the stickers, the patches, everything that I got. Like, it's kind of like a grab bag of the WFO Radio studio, but everybody's getting something in 2022. But sign up for Patreon at patreon.com/WFO Radio. And if you maybe aren't able to do that, I can tell you that our merch store is live now, and they're having a sale. Right? We don't control when a sale happens or not, but I just put it up there in the chat section. Our merch store with the WFO shirts with the logos. We got big ones. We got small ones. We got the wide F and open shirts that everybody has loved so much. And it's pretty amazing to see how many of the hoodies are going. Everybody loves the hoodies. By the way, it's pretty affordable for a hoodie. Long sleeve t-shirts and the wide F and open t-shirts and everything is available in all the designs. So I highly recommend, like, get some WFO gear for 2022 when you're coming out to the racetrack. Now, if you didn't see Justin Ashley yesterday, it was a really big deal that Phillips Connect is going to be on board with his team for the first 3 races of 2022. You can go back into the archive and watch that. I'm always pushing the YouTube channel, but this is how I started my day. Firebird up on the tow truck. Water pumping. I've been wanting to do it, right? Water pump. I'm going to dive in. I'm going to do the water pump on the Firebird. I'm going to do it. And then I started to stare at it. I started to see some YouTube videos, and it looked really dirty. And I said, man, I don't have time for that. I got to do WFO stuff. I got to mail stuff out for the Patreons and do special shows for everybody and get Matt Smith another check mark on my championship list. And so the Firebird is off at the mechanic right now. Take care of it, Lee. Steps Automotive in Oakland Park, Florida. All right, let's see what everybody's got to say. Blake, what's up, buddy? How many days, Blake, till you're at historic Auto Club Raceway in Pomona, California? Definitely make a little time to go to In-N-Out Burger and get a double with cheese. You know, there's all kinds of like legendary stuff. The Wally Parks Museum. You're going to want to go to that, Blake, and then hang out with us. Monica says she loves the hoodies. Loves the hoodies. The hoodies are good. Thank you. Daryl says, God bless. Here's the news drop. I am going to mention it. Terry Mcmillan to return. Terry sold his operation to Dan Mercier Racing. You know, Dan runs in the top alcohol ranks, but got his big show license a couple of years ago. Brought a car out there that he got from Terry Mcmillan. And I guess, you know, Terry, there were rumors he was coming back, but I don't know the details, but something fell apart. And instead, he sold his operation to Dan Mercier. And Terry is going to run a limited schedule, like 6 or so races, maybe more, under the Dan Mercier Racing flag, but it's going to be all the equipment that he just sold to Dan. And I think that's very smart by Dan. First of all, Dan should not buy an entire Top Fuel operation and then not run it. So I'm excited to see Dan Mercier, who is a qualified and talented racer out there running in the big show stuff, and to have Terry Mcmillan part of it. Now, I did see the press release a little bit earlier, but I wasn't exactly sure if Rob Wendland went with the deal. That is something that I don't know. And everybody who's followed WFO Radio for a long time knows that I think Rob Wendland is a very, very talented character. And it seemed like last year, or 2 years ago, just as he was getting into like a groove, man, they're building cars, they're making updates. The pandemic obviously knocks the bottom out of it. Okay. In the press release, I do not see anything mentioning or naming Rob Wendland by name in my quick scan. That I think is significant, but then again, that's up to Dan Mercier. And Rob Wendland, you'd think he would be hired by someone ASAP, if not for his tuning prowess, for his TikTok videos. Oh, they're so good. Jerron Settles out there. What's up, Joe? 27 or so more days until Pomona. Jerron is out there doing stuff. What's up, Jerron? You back in Florida? Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't it beautiful? Spectacular day here in the Sunshine State. It's amazing. Amazing. Yeah, news drop. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Check out the archive. Justin Ashley was amazing yesterday. Matt Smith brings it here. We encourage you to share the show. Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Sorry I missed the show, but I'm here now. Well, that's it. The show's over, Jerron. That's it. That's all we got. My daughter and I are traveling to Vegas the 28th, 29th, 30th, first bracket race of the year for us. Way to go, Jeff. Good luck to you. yeah, the big money bracket racing is happening. Everybody's getting geared up, and Pomona is right around the corner. I am excited about the test out in Arizona, and it's going to be Arizona, Pomona, Arizona, 3 in a row to start the season, the test and 2 national events. Who's going to come out of the box strong? That is my question to all of you guys out there. All right, guys. Thanks to Matt and Angie. Appreciate you. Thanks to all the listeners out there. I know I didn't promote this. That's why I'm going to need your help getting it out there, sharing the show, posting it on message boards, going out on the street with a sandwich board with the show link printed on it. All of these things. Get out there and do it. Preach the gospel. Spread the word that is WFO Radio. And I'm going to get back into the studio and take care of some business. We are desperately trying to get ahead of the 2022 NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series season and all the great stuff that is about to go down. Thanks, everybody, WFO. Remember, the merch store is open. You can get there through WFOradio.com. We don't talk about the website enough. If you haven't seen the Joe versus Pro video, notice I stayed away from that, right? Because Matt was like, Joe's going to win. Yeah. Watch the video, though. Let's juice those views, man. I don't care if you enjoy it. I want to see the views go up. Deep and Hawk. I was telling Tony Bischoff about you at the Engine Performance Expo, and everybody was very intrigued in your Studebaker program, just so you know, because Studebaker got name dropped as kind of an off-brand that not a lot of people are working with, and I was like, I know a guy, got a whole manifold business, and that's Deep and Hawk, WFO listener. Pretty amazing. All right, guys, thank you so much. Appreciate you. Congratulations to Matt, 5-time world champion. They reference Corey Reed. Just always get a kick out of this photo. And thanks to everybody out there for participating in WFO, the ice cream eating contest. This guy wants a spec ice cream. Maybe he's right. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on WFO Radio. Enable push notifications so you never miss one. WFO.